Hey everyone, Jason here today with a tutorial on how to compute the sales tax from a subtotal to where we get our grand total of our purchase. So off to the left we have a nice shiny new Xbox controller. It retails for $49.95. And in my area we have a 7.25% sales tax. So let's rough this out. We have 49.95 plus 7.25%. Now this is actually a portion of this price, and this will give us our grand total, which is denoted by G. So subtotal's pretty straightforward. It can be a string of values, but here we only have one item, so we need to focus on just this. Let's focus on our sales tax. It's not that difficult. We need to convert this into decimal form. Now there's two ways we could do it. We can simply just take the decimal and move it over by 2 places. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I'm going to write up a little formula for this. So I'm going to go 7.25 divided by 100. Now what this does, this is actually going to move this decimal for us. This is great if you're putting this into a programmable calculator or a computer program. So this actually will return 0.0725. So that right there will be our fraction. In order to compute our sales tax, we need to take our subtotal and multiply it by this number. So 49.95 times 0.0725. I'm going to spare you guys and gals the long multiplication. I'm going to take my trusty TI-92 Plus calculator and I'm going to input this in there. So I'm going to input 49.95 times 0.0725. And we should have a sales tax of approximately $3.62. So this is approximate because I'm rounding it down. $3.62. So therefore, the sales tax here is $3.62. So let's move this controller out of the way. So we have our sales tax at 7.25% of this will be $3.62. And then simply we can just add it. So we have 7, that'd be 5, carrier 1, that'd be 12, 13. This right here would be 5. That's if I can write. So it's actually $53.57 for this controller. So if you were printing out a receipt, you would actually have all the information here. See, this could be a string of numbers. Here's our sales tax right here. Here's what the sales tax would cost, and here's our grand total. Now I want to show you a formula that will get you to the grand total real quick. So here we have our subtotal. I'm going to denote this by S. And this equation here, we're going to denote this by our T for tax. And of course G is for our grand total. So let's start setting this up and go through it real quick. You could probably get the gist of it. So we have S plus, here's our tax. But it's a little more complicated than that. So here's our percentage of our tax. Remember we had to multiply this, so we're going to have S again times our sales tax. But here this part here is the piece we need right here to put in here. So this right here would be our T divided by 100 equals G. Now I want to get rid of this S. There's too many S's in here. I want to factor that out. So I'm just going to simply pull this S out of here. So that gives me S 1 plus 1 times T over 100, which in return gives you just this. 1 plus T over 100, which is G. So now I can just simply put in 2 numbers in this whole equation and put it in a programming calculator. So I can just come in here and grab our 49.95 times 1 plus our percentage. That's why I put the 100 there, so we can clear that out. So just type in 7.25 over 100. And if I were to put this in the calculator, we should have the same price here. So here we go. We got 49.95 times 1 plus 7.25 divided by 100. And we have $53.57 about. So this in return here comes in here, 53.57. Remember, our rounding error was in our tax. This right here is more raw. So this formula right here is really useful in computing the grand total really quick. Now here's a story behind this. When I was working in fast food about 20 years ago, we had an incident where our computers didn't work, and out of 6 people who were qualified for cashiers, only 2 of us knew how to do this formula. My manager and myself. And I had to give a crash course on this formula. So like, let's say I'm reading off like a hamburger, fries, and shake. I would simply just string the numbers up. I would put them into this where the S is at. I would put the sales tax here and generate it. And at that time I had my TI-83 calculator. I'd put the values into my TI-83, wrote up a really quick program, and I would just sit there, look at the menu board, write down all the prices, and I would just type them into the calculator, and I would come up with the exact change. So this is a very useful formula, especially if you're into retail sales, or if you're out in the field somewhere, you need to compute a sales tax real quick and a grand total. This will work, especially if you're self-employed. So it's a really nice formula to have if you're doing sales tax. And of course, with this formula, we can solve for other values. Like if I want to pull out, let's say I have a grand total and I have the sales tax, I can actually find out what the original value of the price was. Now, I'm not going to go into it here, but this is just a quick demonstration on how to compute a grand total from the subtotal and sales tax. So I hope this tutorial helped everyone out.